Stories and our journeys captured all throughout our lives. Quiero comprender más con NHI.
Welcome back to the NHI Journeys podcast. My name is Isabella Matamoros. I'm a freshman at the University of Georgia, and I'm going to be your host for today. In this episode, we're going to be talking about NHI's program for high school freshmen, which is the Great Debate. In this program, students begin their leadership journey with NHI, all while developing useful debate and public speaking skills. NHI hosts two different types of Great Debates. We have the 6-day Great Debates, which occur in regional hubs such as the Midwest, the Northeast, California, and Texas, and the Texas 4-day Great Debates, where regional teams from cities all across Texas and now Mexico compete together in one debate. We're going to be hearing the stories from students who competed in both types of Great Debates, and we're going to start with Emma Wulff from Boston, Massachusetts. Emma, can you please introduce yourself to the audience and talk a little bit about how you've gotten involved with NHI?
Yeah, totally. My name's Emma Wulff. I'm 15 years old, like Isa said, from Boston, Massachusetts, and I'm a current sophomore. Last summer, I participated in the 2025 Northeast Great Debate, and it was an amazing experience. I learned about it quite late in the process, I would say. I learned about it right at the end of my freshman year of high school through my brother's friend, Gustavo. He texted my brother like, "Oh, would Emma be interested in going to this?" And so my brother told me like, "Oh, it's a debate kind of trip that you would go on for the National Hispanic Institute." And I've never heard of NHI. And I'm also not a big public speaker, or at least I wasn't at that point. And so I kind of just did it to see what the new experience would be like because I wasn't doing anything for that week. So I said, well, let's just go for it. And so that's how I ended up signing up for the Great Debate.
That's great. Like that kind of field recruiting happens a lot, and that's what we encourage people who participate in the past programs to do. Like, hey, reach out to your friends, your teammates, and try to get them to join because you don't know what they might take away from the experience, which is pretty cool. You also touched about going to the 6-day Great Debate, and so for our listeners who aren't necessarily familiar with the 6-day Great Debate, can you explain a little bit of what it's about, what you do? Walk me through what the program is like.
So the 6-day Great Debate is kind of set up as like from introduction, prep, all the way to the actual debates, all within those 6 days. So on the first day, everyone kind of arrives, and it's kind of more programming in the morning, making sure everyone's checked in into their rooms and everything. And then throughout the day, we participated in all these different clinics that went over like how to debate, like different skills that you need in debating, like critical thinking or persuasion or thinking on the spot. And so through these little clinics, it was a good introduction to all the different skills that we would all eventually be needing for our debates, but in a very fun, controlled way through all these different games. And so that was the first day. And then that night, we got our different teams. So we all got to meet the people who we would be spending most of our time with and competing for points with, which was super exciting because it kind of started off the trip with this is your group of people. And it kind of helped us all bond together right from the end of that first day. Then on the second day, we had a big focus on learning about the different like categories like oratory, cross-examination, and extemporaneous speaking. And so that was really helpful for the whole group because not only did we get to talk about what everyone might like to do, go to different showings of what each of these categories held, and we also got to really bond with our group more closely, talking about the goals that we all had, what we wanted to take away from the experience, and also come up with our team name, which it kind of bonded us together even closer because we were called the Haglings, and it was kind of an inside joke.
Okay, I
But I
was
won't,
about to ask, like,
yeah,
what does the
it
haglings
was
mean?
it was because we were really stumped, and then our team leader Victoria she was mentioning how when she first came to NHI, when she was in ninth grade, her Discord handle was the evil hag. And so she didn't realize that was what her name was when she was texting in all the different groups. And so we thought it was funny. And so we took
Yeah.
the haglings because we were her haglings.
That was
And
really
so,
cute. Yeah.
yeah, it was a good way to really connect on a level other than how are we going to prepare for this debate, because it was really about bonding with the people in our group as well, and bonding with the people who we were going to be learning with. Then on the third day, we had decided our different categories, and everyone got to attend different smaller clinics where they would learn what they were going to be doing. How are you going to prepare maybe your speech for oratory? How are you going to prepare for your extemporaneous speaking, and taking that time to gather evidences, like things that you could use, and also for cross-examination, all the different details of every category. And so that was really special because everyone who had chosen the category that they fit best was meeting other people from the program who also liked those categories. So I thought it was really helpful because you got to talk to people who were thinking the same thing as you. They were coming up with the idea, they were drafting their things alongside each other, and it was a really like community building moment because we were all working in it together, but then we were also each progressing in our own separate ideas and thoughts with what we got from all the different things we did that day. Then on the fourth day, I remember this day so clearly because since we only had a couple of days to prepare for everything that we were going to be debating on, the first day of like elimination rounds was very stressful.
You always
It
remember
was,
your first day, your first round. Like even now that I'm a college freshman, I still remember like sitting there before my first round and how nervous I was. And my partner over here is like freaking out. I'm like, it's gonna be okay. Like we'll be fine. We'll be fine. But yes, I totally get that.
yeah, I was in the oratory category, so I was running through the speech in my head through breakfast
Yeah.
before my first round, like at every waking moment because I was so nervous about it. But it actually ended up going pretty well, and it kind of came naturally because of all of the work we had done to prepare. It was really just about being passionate in what you were saying, at least for me. In like my category, it was probably different for you. I presume you're having to
Yeah.
work with a
I
partner,
did
but
mock trial, which I know is not a category in sixth day, but it's pretty
mhm,
similar to cross-examination.
yeah.
But yeah, my sister did oratory and like passion and storytelling, it's obviously a big part of it.
And so, although I was super nervous, and I remember my hand shaking as I was holding my little flashcard with my notes, like the relief I felt after every single round was like, oh, I cannot believe I just did that, uh, because it was really just like a new experience for me. I'd never done anything like that, and the whole great debate, like the 6-day great debate, is like think fast and take what you're learning and do something great with it. And it was kind of pushing me outside of my comfort zone because I wasn't really a public speaker back then. I like every time I had to talk in front of a group, I would like tremble and my voice would be shaky. But on this day, I was like going through my speech so much that I got so comfortable with being in front of people. And because I was at first really nervous that I have like barely had time to memorize this. I can't believe I'm having to say it in front of other people. But then it was just like taking all that nervousness out of me. It was really
Yes.
cool.
And I mean, look at the progress you've made. Now you're speaking on a podcast about your experience to who
Yeah.
knows how many listeners.
Yeah, it was like a monumental thing for me because I never thought of myself as someone who could speak out in public or even on a podcast like this, even though
Yeah.
I'm just talking into a computer. But I gained so much confidence, especially because on the fifth day, which was kind of like the final day where everyone was doing the elimination rounds, there was like a heightened level of nervousness because obviously you could be done after the next time you were saying your speech. And so in that moment, it was more about being proud of myself every time I did it because I never knew if I was gonna continue on, and I kind of got more confidence every time I said my speech just because I knew, "Hey, this could be my last time saying this. I should enjoy it." And so it kind of also correlated with the idea of speaking in front of others to something I should be proud of doing and have confidence doing. So, that was like the last day. That was kind of my whole week and the progression I made in myself and also like the work. And I saw this in everyone. I saw people who couldn't like talk and participate in games at the beginning of the week, talking in front of their whole entire lunch table, practicing with other people that they'd maybe never met before the program. And it was really inspiring actually. And so that's how like kind of the 6 days worked for everyone and how like the progression went.
I'm really happy to hear that. And I love hearing about y'all's growth. When I was coaching for the Texas Great Debate, I was a head coach and I that was my favorite part, just seeing people grow. And even though it was over a longer period of time, we had like multiple trainings and then we saw the Great Debate, just seeing people exactly what you're saying, going from not wanting to talk at all to speaking and like volunteering to speak on a stage in front of 200 people is wild, and it just makes me so happy for all these students. Okay, my next question is kind of unrelated, but I was wondering, you've mentioned all these cool experiences from the 6 day Great Debate. So I'm wondering, what was your favorite memory from the 6 day Great Debate? And it doesn't have to be debate related.
I think that my favorite memory from the entire experience was on the 5th day, kind of in the evening, we went and we had, like, a dance, and kind of towards the end of the night, it was already getting late, everyone was kind of tired, but we all stood in a circle, and I, like, vividly remember looking at everyone and thinking, "This is so many people, but I know them all so well, and I seen them, like you said, like, grow through the experience. I met these people on day 1, and now on the end of day 5, like, seeing as them as, like, this whole person who had so much passion saying their speeches and practicing. They had so much dedication in preparing for everything that they were gonna be saying, and I saw all these amazing people who were my age, and I mean, we were only freshmen, and so it was really like I keep going back to that moment, and I've gone back to it so many times since I left because I made so many new friends, and I saw them as not just people I loved spending my time with, but also people that I was happy to surround myself with.
Yeah, that's great. I love hearing about how you've made so many friends and that you're able to connect with them. So I'm also wondering, what are your future plans within or NHI? Like, how do you plan to stay, if you plan to stay in contact with these friends, if you plan to staff, I'm curious, what do you plan for the future?
Yeah, I think this is kind of ironic because currently the group chat of the friends I made at the Great Debate is blowing up for some reason as I'm talking right now. So that's one way that I've been staying in touch is just talking over the phone with people. And also, I know that Boston is a city people like to travel with, so I'm hearing of a couple of people who are like, "Oh, I might go into Boston," and I'm just so happy to be able to say, "Oh, I'd love to meet up, maybe, like, have a snack or something, walk you around the town." That's one way that I'm staying in contact with the people, but within NHI as a whole, I'm thinking next year I will try to be a volunteer at one of the great debates. There is no Northeast Great Debate for the next year, but I might just, have to travel a little bit longer and help out at another one, which I'm so happy to do. And then I'm also going to be participating in the American LDZ.
Yes, I want to staff that one. It's going to be so fun. You should totally do it. Is there
Yeah.
anything like you're specifically excited for about LDZ or like anything you're looking forward to?
I've heard that it's a little bit more independent and everyone's kind of figuring things out as they go. It's not as structured as the Great Debate, which I obviously love the structure. I'm actually a very organized person, so it was nice to have all the days laid out. But I'm excited to see how I can find my place in the LDZ program and kind of grow like as like a more independent speaker and maybe crafting my own points and having confidence in doing my own thing while I'm there.
Well, I'm super excited for your journey. Just hearing about everything you've said, I see a lot of potential in you, and you like remind me of the students I coached when I was the head
Oh,
coach
that's so
and director of
sweet.
curriculum. You're kind of the same age as them too, so it's like you remind me of them. But yeah, I really wish you the best of luck in the rest of your NHI journey, and thank you so much for hopping on this call to share your experience.
Thank you so much. And thank you for having me. This has been great. I loved the great debate so much that I love talking about it any chance I get. So this has been great.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And now we are here with three students who recently completed the 4-day Texas Great Debate. Can you guys all introduce yourselves and tell us where you're from?
Hi, my name is Andrew Mefrige, and I am from San Antonio.
My name's Jacob Suarez, and I'm from tip of Texas, Brownsville.
My name is Sophia Tabuenca, and I'm from the Aus.
Awesome. So, one thing that's really special about the Texas 4-day Great Debate is that it's structured much different from the 6-day Great Debates in other parts of the country. Can you guys tell me a little bit about what this structure looks like?
So the 4-day Great Debate differs from the 6-day Great Debate in the way that there's trainings prior to the actual Great Debate. So we start in advance and we train, like refine our skills, get us to the best possibility we can. We train, we meet new people to ultimately prepare us for the Great Debate.
To add on to that, I would say the 40 Great Debate is probably the most exciting and nerve-wracking experience because you're able to talk with a bunch of people and meet new alliances, and also it's a competition and it's fun.
Yeah, and you really get to learn a lot while you're training and preparing, and you get to know everything you're going to need to know for the Great Debate. And then once you're there, you'll compete and get to meet so many new people.
Yeah, so I know all of you guys spent several months training before this big event. What were these trainings like? What did you guys take away from them? Because I know every alliance does training a little bit differently.
So for the San Antonio Alliance, our trainings started off as something that the debaters didn't like. And we're going to be completely honest, when we go from not liking a training to falling in love with NHI, that shows that someone did something right and that these trainings will seem sort of maybe mediocre at first, but the more you go to trainings, the more you put into it, the more you come to NHI, the more NHI will give back to you. And that's ultimately the reason that I stuck with it. Just meeting new people, becoming the best version of myself possible, learning from the staff, and just ultimately everything that goes into a training that's prepared me for the great debate is the most fun experience.
And the meetings, like they start as more of a fun experience to get to meet all these new people and get to build a community, but then you start learning about what you're going to do at the Great Debate. You start learning all these skills and you slowly start putting them together to, well, better yourself with the new people and all your new friends and build up what you need leading up to the debate.
For my alliance, the trainings were nerve-wracking, but they were fun and they made you step out of your comfort zone. And I always thought of them as a privilege and not a responsibility. So I always had that positive mindset going into it.
I love that. As a person who was a head coach, I love that you looked at it that way. And like Andrew, I completely relate. My first time doing Great Debate, I'd go up to the trainings and I had a really small team. We were 10 people and It was so awkward because we barely knew each other and our team was so small. But as we kept going, the trainings kept getting more fun. And by the time we were at the Great Debate, everyone was happy to be there. So that was really nice. So you guys talked a little about the trainings. What was it like being at the Great Debate? I know some of you guys touched a little bit about that, but like what was the experience like? What were the emotions? What were some of the things you took away? I want to hear all about it.
My great debate experience was a lot. The trainings definitely helped me prepare for the round aspect, but what you find out at the great debate is how to live as an adult, how to take care of yourself, and how to ultimately just be yourself and be responsible for everything you do. So the emotions going into it were maybe nerve-wracking at first, but the more you started meeting new people, the more you started debating, the more confident you got, and ultimately it just became fun. You would wake up in the morning with your friends in a dorm room at a college and eat with your friends, debate with your friends, not just your friends from your alliance, but from other alliances. I have now made connections from people in Monterrey, from people from tip of Texas. All of these different alliances really just made the Great Debate what it was. And they made it not nerve-wracking, but exciting and fun.
My experience in a way was also the same. I mean, at first I was nervous because everybody there was so smart and passionate about their great debate. But by the second day, I started to feel more confident in my voice, and I learned how to work with my team and how to listen to different opinions. One of my favorite parts was meeting other people who cared about leadership and their Hispanic identity. It was just nice to see all those people come together.
And it's a really nice opportunity to finally, after putting so much hard work in at all the trainings, being able to go there and just apply everything and realize that all these different people from all around the place have been learning and doing the same trainings as you. And it's just really comforting knowing that everyone's kind of experiencing the same things and being able to just meet so many new people and you keep in contact with them afterwards as well. And it's just a really cool experience.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I'm curious, what categories were you guys?
Ooh, so I did cross-examination.
Okay, cross-examination.
I was in extemporaneous speaking.
I was in mock trial.
Oh, and that's one that they don't have in the 6-day Great Debate. So another cool thing about Texas that we have an extra category. I also did mock trial, so I'm biased towards that. Did you guys like your categories? What was that experience like working in your categories?
I can definitely speak for cross-examination and probably mock too. When I say it's a lot of research and evidence, but the more you put into these research, the more you're going to get in your round. So cross-examination is very tricky because you have to know what you're gonna say and you have to predict what your opponent is gonna say, which really like sharpened my critical thinking skills and just ultimately becoming a better speaker, being able to speak on the spot, being able to come up with these persuasive solutions, being able to question my opponent, being able to see their point of view and question their point of view. So for cross-examination, it was a lot, but it definitely helped me become the best version that I possibly could be.
And I was in extemp, and I really liked my category. It taught me how to be confident in my words, even though I had just written the speech. It's it's very little prep time, but it also gets you to think quickly because you have to respond to your opponent's question. So I feel like it's the most relatable towards life because you're gonna be meeting other people that you don't know, and you're gonna have to keep a conversation going. And I feel like it prepared me well for that.
Yeah, and then in mock trial, it's kind of like cross-examination, but there's a lot of more components. And it's also just a lot of research and knowing what you're going to say, kind of thinking about what your opponent's going to say. And you have to come up with two different sides of an argument and be prepared to argue for either one because you don't know till the day of your competition which side you're going to be on. And yeah, and it being with a partner also helps a lot because you get that extra support of since it's so much workload, there you get your partner to help you do everything that you need to prepare. And yeah.
To add on to that, my partner from cross-examination didn't go to my school, but we quickly became super close, super good friends. And I know that in a partner category where you may be weak, your partner can lift you up. And when your partner is weak in some sort of aspect, you're there for them. So that's what I really love about a partner category.
I love that. And I'm glad that you were able to become so close with your partner. That's one of the ideas of, coming to these programs and, meeting people in your own city with the alliances is like making friends across the city, which I think is really cool. So now that you guys have done your great debates and you're kind of looking towards the future, how are you planning on staying involved with your alliances?
In the San Antonio Alliance, I am planning on coming back as a staff member. And as a staff member, I'm going to make this upcoming group of debaters, I want their great debate to be even better than my great debate. Any way that I can be an asset to them and become something positive for them. I want to be that positive figure in their great debate experience. I want to be their reason why they come back and maybe they will even eventually staff.
For me, I recently applied to be a coach for extemporaneous speaking, and I just want to be able to help the next generation, or like the next great debaters, like learn and rethink, rather than like thinking problem solution like we learned in the great debate. Like, we should be thinking how we can build off of what we have, and I want to prepare them for the great debate. And by the end of that experience, I want them to realize that it's challenging, but it's one of the most rewarding experiences that they'll have, because for me, I believe it shaped the way I think and the way that I act now.
Yeah, I am going to go back and volunteer, and I just want to be able to give back to the Alliance what they gave for me last year, and help others like step out of their comfort zone, kind of like how it helped me like actually be able to have a voice for myself. Like that's what I learned at the Great Debate, and I want to give that back to the new people that are coming in.
I love that. Thank you. And so that's probably going to take up a lot of your time in the next few months. What about next summer? Are you guys planning on going to LDZ? And if you are, which LDZ are you planning on going to?
I'm planning on going to the Colorado LDZ. Super excited. I know a bunch of my friends are going. Some of my friends who didn't even do Great Debate, but heard how much fun we had at Great Debate and decided to join.
And I'm going to the Texas LDZ, and I'm serving as a crossover captain, so I'm still trying to get more and more people to join. But I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm also doing the Colorado LDZ, and I'm really excited just because of I already know a lot of people that are going, but also excited to meet people from other states because that sounds like another really fun experience.
Are there any things that you guys are wondering or looking forward to? I know a lot of you guys said you're excited to meet new people and go with your friends. I'm just curious, like, what are your thoughts on LDZ?
Yeah, I'm super excited because I know that some of my friends that made at Great Debate, who I haven't seen since Great Debate, that are going to the same LDZ that I'm going to. I'm super excited to see them, to catch up with them, and to just be in an NHI environment with people who support me.
For myself, I'm not sure what to expect, but I'm excited. I want to learn how we can work as a team, and also like make decisions as a group, and I'm just excited for what's to come.
Same. I've heard from people that have already done LDZ that it's a lot of fun and like a life-changing experience, and I'm really excited for that. And I also hope to do even better at LDZ than I did at the Great Debate.
I'm very excited for y'all. LDZ, as you've heard, it can be a very transformative program. It's one of our most popular programs. I went to Texas LDZ, so I'm biased. I think Jacob made a good choice. But my sister went to Colorado and she loved it. So I'm sure Sophia and Andrew, you guys will be in great hands. Before we close off, I wanted to ask if you guys had any more remarks about Great Debate that you wanted to share with the audience.
Great debate is a process, and that process will change your life. And speaking from a perspective that originally NHI wasn't appealing to me, but the more I opened my eyes to NHI, the more I fell in love with it. And I promise that Great Debate, it was the best experience of my freshman year. And whoever is wondering or wants to join Great Debate, I cannot stress enough that you should do Great Debate. Not just because you'll meet new people, but you find you find something in yourself that you haven't seen before, and you kind of can't explain it without experiencing it. And that's why I super highly advise that everyone should do the Great Debate.
Yeah, to build off of that at the start, honestly, it is a challenging experience and sometimes it can be tiring. But by the end of my great debate, I didn't just leave with debate skills. I had left with new friends, a stronger sense of pride in who I am, and a motivation to keep growing as a leader and a Latino.
And I think overall just helps you learn so many new skills that you really wouldn't be able to learn anywhere else. And you just get so many new, like, amazing opportunities and experiences.
Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you sharing your stories, and I hope this helped give people an idea of what the Texas 4-Day Great Debate is like. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
As you just heard, now that these students have completed their Great Debate, they're taking the next steps on their NHI journey by applying for the Lorenzo Zavala Youth Legislative Session, or as we like to call it, LDZ. LDZ is one of NHI's most popular and transformative programs, and I highly recommend it to any sophomores or juniors who are interested. This year, NHI will be hosting LDZ at Colorado State University, University of New Mexico, Seton Hall University, and Trinity University. With that being said, thank you all for listening today. Thank you to Emma Wulff, Andrew Mefrige, Jacob Suarez, and Sophia Tabuenca for joining us on this episode. Our podcast music was produced by Zayden Worley, and our podcast art was created by Diego Garcia. Thank you all for supporting the NHI Journeys podcast, and we hope to see you next time.
Stories and our journeys captured all throughout our lives. Quiero comprender más con NHI.